Welcome to the Open USD Insiders live stream. We are covering Isaac Lab today, and probably more importantly, or as important, GTC. I'm very happy to have my great co-host here, Eric. Hey, Eric.
Hey.
Exciting times, just weeks away. As shown on the screen, we have the Global AI Conference coming up in NVIDIA's GTC, March 17th to 21st. I know we'll both be there with lots of people from NVIDIA and partners and customers and clients. Hopefully you will be there as well watching. We also will have plenty of support for people who can't make it in person. But if you can come in person, definitely let us know. Register now, get your sessions all set up. The meeting app, I think, is going live very shortly. So you can start to set up meetings and brain dates. We'll probably get into that on an upcoming live stream, and on our Discord server, we have a GTC channel specifically set up for GTC. So you can talk with us there, ask any questions. So we're super excited. There are so many exciting sessions, labs, panels, and it's going to be an amazing expo floor. I think the biggest expo floor ever in terms of the number of companies presenting their work. It's just going to be an amazing experience. I can't wait. Okay, so we're going to go over, Eric, we're going to go over some of the GTC stuff for the first part of the live stream. We're going to, the team has put together some great slides containing some information about the sessions. We're going to go through these, and then we're going to dive into our office hours. So this is technically Isaac Lab office hours. And Eric, who's amazing at these office hours, will be showing some tips and tricks about debugging, but we're also going to take your questions live. So leverage that chat. Feel free to ask us any questions along the way. Try to keep it focused on Isaac Labs, since that's the topic of today. And if it's unrelated, we'll do our best to answer in the chat, or we can follow up with you later on Discord. Okay, so let's dive into GTC. It actually starts with an amazing keynote that's being planned by our CEO, Jetson. We have a specific page for the keynote. If you search for GTC keynote, we'll probably put a link in the chat. Amelia, our producer, is posting all information in the live chat. Thanks for that, Amelia. So we have kicking off things of GTC is an amazing keynote by Jetson. I would definitely add that to your calendar, whether you're coming live and you can see it in person, or whether you're going to be watching virtually. These keynotes are absolutely mind-blowing in many ways, also revealing what's coming, showing off what's available now, and show some amazing progress from our teams and different partners and customers around the world leveraging NVIDIA technology. Very excited about generative AI, obviously robotics. So you can imagine there's going to be plenty of that. Cosmos, or World Foundation models will be, as we talked about at CES, will also be very well represented at GTC. Okay, so it's really easy to find out information about GTC. The main page, we're going to put a link in the chat, which actually will give you our community discount. So if you are planning to come, or anything on the registration page will be, I think it's 25% off. There's also other discounts if you're coming in groups of 3. So check out the GTC pricing page for those discounts. But for the community one, we'll post a link in the chat. If you miss it, just feel free to message me. Okay, so nvidia.com/GTC is the main page. But again, we're going to put in a secret link in the chat for the discount. And we are, so there's going to be, I said, this is one of our largest main areas where we're going to have over 200 exhibits. I already mentioned the keynote, but these, there are going to be 500 expert-led sessions tailored to every technical level. So it doesn't matter what kind of work you're specifically involved in. There's something there for everybody. Early bird pricing, I think, has ended, but don't worry, you can still get tickets. And like I said, leverage that discount. We're going to put in the chat. The keynote actually takes place on March 18th at the SAP Center. So if you're in the area, we do hope you'll come. We'll be there, of course. Registration is required to join the keynote in person. You can check out that link right there, nvidia.com GTC keynote. And it begins at 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm sorry, no registration required to watch the GTC session virtually, of course. But you can add it to your calendar using that webpage link. So obviously robotics, humanoid robotics. So Eric, what are humanoids? People who might not know what a humanoid is.
Yeah. So what are humanoids? A humanoid robot is a robot that looks like a human. It's got arms and legs, usually a head, but I guess they don't really need a head. But yeah, the robots that look and they're supposed to be able to operate where a human would operate. You know,
It's a very specific, emulating the human body movements or different types of work. So a lot
and
of
even typically the size, because the idea is in an industrial setting, if we have really great humanoid robots, you could have them work alongside people, and the world we've built is designed around people and their ergonomics. And so if you design a robot that's ergonomically like a human, it will fit and be able to operate in the world, you know?
Yeah. So lots of sessions specifically focused on this type of development. We're calling it the Humanoid Developer Day. There's a nice QR code at the bottom of the screen, so you can use your camera to take a picture of that and display these sessions on your own phone or computer. So we have featured talks. We also have workshops and trainings. Workshops and trainings labs, they're fantastic because they're hands-on. All the equipment is there ready for you to go, and you'll be sitting next to some great developers as well. Great chance to meet people, obviously, but the sessions are very interactive and a great way to dive in and learn from some of the best experts in the world. But take a look at some of these featured talks. Again, we recently announced Groot, so we're going to have a nice session on that. Embodied AI. I know there's been a lot of interest in Disney's robotics, so there's actually a session catered for that. And as Eric was just mentioning, physical AI for humanoids. And they're going to, Google's going to talk about how they leverage robotics simulation to accelerate humanoid robotics training. So lots of great sessions happening and workshops on Humanoid Developer Day. Again, use that QR code. This live stream, you can watch afterwards. After we finish today, you can watch it afterwards. You can pause it on the screen and take a further look and write stuff down or check out the QR code. But I'm going to go through some of these relatively quickly. And these are all the sessions that are specific to physical AI and robots. A new era of generalist robotics, physical AI for the next frontier of industrial digitalization. One of our Omniverse ambassadors, Michael Wagner, has been very active in this area, helping companies leverage the industrial metaverse and industrial digital twins. There's a session on NVIDIA Cosmos, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that we debuted at CES, World Foundation Models. Cosmos is a very exciting topic. We had a live stream on this, a couple of them actually, in the last couple of weeks. So if you want to dive more into it, you can look at those live streams on our YouTube channel. Just go to the live channel of the NVIDIA Omniverse YouTube channel, and you could watch that great presentation by some of my colleagues. Physical AI for the next frontier of industrial digitalization. And then again, workshops and training focused on physical AI and robotics. There's a few of them there. So highly recommend. And then if you go to the sessions, it'll tell you which ones are supported virtually. Obviously, all of these are in person, but some of them also will have virtual support. There is no great replacement though for being there in person. Not only could the ability to interact with your fellow attendees and the instructors or the presenters, but also just for networking in general. It's a fantastic business opportunity for those who want to engage with others doing similar work. Okay, and then we're going to obviously dive into edge. This is NVIDIA after all, so we're going to talk about edge computing and AI. Lots of feature talks there on Edge Computing 101 if you're just getting started. Impact of AI, industrial robotics, and medical safety and security. Trains as a sensor, making physical AI a reality, agentic AI at the edge. And of course, we have some workshops and training on edge computing and AI as well. Again, leverage that QR code at the bottom there, and that will give you great access later on. We have sessions on computer vision and video analytics. I know there's lots of people there in the community who work in this area. So some great feature talks here and also workshops and trainings. If you have any questions on any of the sessions that you are looking at from the session catalog, feel free to post that in the GTC channel on our Discord server. Easy to get to, discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. And Eric, feel free to, I know I'm breezing through this, but feel free if you see something you want to stop and talk about, just interrupt me along the way.
I got one. There's one DLI lab. And if you don't have a slide for it, I do.
Okay, cool.
I want to talk about that. That's it.
All right.
That's the one that Oyindamola is teaching.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, great. So let me know after this, you share your screen, and then we'll switch to yours.
Yeah.
NVIDIA Cosmos, we have lots of feature talks on World Foundation Models Cosmos. So we have 4 feature talks there, 3 workshop trainings. That QR code will bring you to these sessions and trainings as well. Again, like I said a few minutes ago, we already have a deep dive live stream if you want to get a little more familiar with things, and then come to GTC to even dive further. We have developer labs for physical AI and robotics right there. Again, these developer labs are so amazing. What a great opportunity to learn alongside some fellow developers from experts in the world with all the equipment right there ready for you to dive in. There's a Learn OpenUSD session on robotics best practices. That looks like a great one too. NVIDIA Jetson developer sessions. This is really cool. Obviously, we just had a nice launch of the newest Jetson or Nano Super, I believe. Eric, you have one, right?
Yeah, that's a software launch. So
Yeah.
it's not even a new piece of hardware. You can take your
And update it.
already owned Jetson Nano and upgrade it. And
it's amazing.
It was like double its speed or double the number of.
That was such an exciting launch too. So some people who might be watching, I'm sure you've already dived in because we just saw so many great videos and workflows shared on not only on YouTube but on LinkedIn following that nice software launch and people showing off to doing amazing things already. I've seen some really fun ones that totally would not have thought of on my own in terms of what you could do with such a small piece of hardware and the great software. But anyway, so lots of sessions focused on that and workshops and trainings as well. GTC is also an amazing place to come and get certified. A lot of people ask us, hey, where can I get certified? So GTC is an amazing place for that. The cost is here, about $495 per person and $195 per virtual workshop. Group discounts are available, so definitely make sure you check out the page there, nvidia.com/GTC/training. And technical certifications are available from NVIDIA. There are exams there. So anyway, great way to prepare for your next job or just lean heavily into what you are learning now and get certified and trained. That QR code also will give you more information on this. I'm such a big fan of NVIDIA Inception. We talk about it a lot on the live streams. We interview a lot of companies that are Inception members. There's going to be great Inception presentations and a booth area at GTC. I know many of you watching out there are involved in startup and technically to be part of NVIDIA Inception, their startup just has to be less than 10 years old. So it's not like you have to be this year or just a couple years old. You can be up to 10 years old. So everyone who has a startup in that age range that is leveraging NVIDIA technology should definitely look at the NVIDIA Inception program. Just go to nvidia.com/GTC/startups to find out what we're going to be doing at GTC. But there's going to be an amazing pavilion area showing off some of the great work, and you're able to talk to the Inception team and also people who are already part of Inception out there in the wild and want to share what they've been working on. That QR code will bring you right there. And of course, the NVIDIA Developer Program, the Omniverse community team has been working more closely every day with the NVIDIA Developer Program team. They have a great Discord as well. If you want to check it out, it's gtc.com/NVIDIA Developer. There's going to be a great booth there helping developers get access and resources they need for whatever SDK or area you're working in. There'll be lots of great help there from the developer team. Okay, and then we have a session specifically for investors. There you go. GTC session for investors. We have 4 there. That QR code will bring you there as well. The NVIDIA Inception VC Alliance connects global investors with the Inception Program startup community. Great place if you want to network with your next potential investor or investors. Look at that session, the 2%, investing in women-led innovation. That looks amazing. Next generation of C-level leaders. Lots of great content there for startups. So GTC is an amazing place to go, especially if you're a startup. Okay, so Eric, I'm going to let you share. I think you've got some nice goodies also. So I'm going to stop my screen.
I've just got, to start with, I've got this slide from Oyen Demola. And by the way, she's told me she will be available in the chat. And so if you have questions about this session or questions for her, go ahead and ask those in the chat. And she should be around answering some of those questions.
Right now, you're saying she's there right now? Wow. All right.
Now.
All right. So definitely ask away. If you're watching now live, we have her in the chat.
Somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, we had.
She told me she'd be here. She hasn't said anything yet. She's a little shy. So, yeah, go ahead and ask. And if she doesn't answer, we'll try our best.
This is going to be an amazing session, though. Lots of excitement for
Yes.
enterprise users on AVP. We had the amazing Jen Baruki on, who gave us a nice overview on how to. There she is. She's in the chat. So check out that live stream from last week if you want to see Jen Baruki going over workflow and setting up for AVP. There you go. There's a nice fan there.
I don't have fans. How does it?
Eric, you got fans.
I'm a little jealous. I need some fans.
You got some fans. Strainflow is playing. There's a Strainflow fan club on Discord for sure. Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned there is a Jetson channel when I talked about the Jetson stuff. We have a Jetson channel on the Discord server for Omniverse. So feel free to check, do a search for Jetson. People who don't know this, actually, it can be a little confusing on the Omniverse Discord server because there's a lot of channels. We break them into categories, so hopefully they're organized nicely. Let me know if you have a suggestion. But if you ever have a problem where you're not sure where to go, do the search on the top right of your screen on Discord. And for example, type in Jetson, you'll see right away the channel, and then any discussion related to Jetson will pop up right there. Super easy. So use that search bar. Okay, so that QR code will bring you all the information on Isaac Lab and Apple Vision Pro, that lab there. And again, that equipment is there for you. You don't need to worry about bringing all your hardware there. The Papa Chuck, otherwise known as Renan, chiming in there on Strainflow. So you don't need to worry about bringing your hardware. Actually, about Papa Chuck, this is so interesting and awesome and funny. Eric, I don't know if you know this. Maybe you saw when I posted this the other day, but we have some amazing members of the community, including Papa Chuck, who actually are helping to teach others in their area about using NVIDIA Omniverse and OpenUSD, and training on robotics. In Renan's case, he actually has a study group that meets regularly at none other than Panera, which is awesome. So thank you, Panera, for letting that happen. He sent me a picture. It's pretty funny. I'll try to show it a little later. I'll look for it. But basically, the Panera they let the study group come in with their extensions cords and desktops and robotic equipment, and that's pretty awesome. And the pictures I saw is a nice little healthy crowd there. So kudos to you, Papa Chuck, for doing that.
Can you hear me, Edmar? I've lost.
Your screen, I'm going to stop sharing your screen because your screen is a little dim. I hear you and see you, though. I think your screen sharing kind of went out a little bit.
Oh, shoot. Well, you're frozen for me. I might need to, and I don't have a mouse cursor. Let me see.
Okay. You look at from my end.
Need to restart here in a second.
Let us know if
let me talk about this session real quick. That Oyindamola is going to teach. Because I wanted people to understand how cool it is. So if you're the main way people teach humanoids right now is through imitation learning. And what you'll do is you'll have a humanoid robot sitting at a station, and then you'll take it over by remote control, which is called teleoperation, and then you'll have it do stuff. You'll kind of remote control it to have it do things, and you'll record those tasks that you've done. And then you use that to build up a data set that you can use to train an AI to do those same tasks. And what's really cool about this session is, first, you'll learn how to gather teleoperation data using Apple Vision Pro. Then the hard part of that now is you really need very large data sets before you can teach the robots to do things. And it takes a lot of effort to collect that data by hand. And so you'll learn how to use Groot Mimic to take a small data set and then augment it with synthetic data. And so you can take, maybe tens or hundreds of actual simulations and turn that into thousands of synthetic simulations that you can use to train your robots. So it makes that training so much easier. And then finally, you'll learn how to use that data to actually train a robot in Isaac Sim. So
that's amazing. Such a huge time saver.
It's all hands-on. Yeah, you'll learn how to do it. So it's going to be an amazing session.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And Eric, I don't want you to feel left out here. I don't know if you're seeing this in the chat, but look at all these. I'm going to post them really quick. Eric fan.
Yeah, I saw those. And so many, it froze my computer. And I'll be right back after I restart.
Okay, so Eric will be right back. So anyway, we're watching the live chat. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Amelia, the producer, is there, as well as some folks from the NVIDIA team. So I think we're going to I'm going to take Eric off the screen for just a second. Actually, let me bring up our GTC page, and I will share that. And then after we finish talking about GTC, we're going to dive right into the Isaac Lab office hours portion, which we're going to be covering essential debugging techniques to enhance your simulations. Eric's actually prepared a nice show and tell how to use visual markers for real-time debug visualization in your own environments and runtime. It's going to show you some effective strategies for tracking down challenging issues. So feel free to get your questions ready in the chat. We will, Eric will be back in 1 second. Let me share my screen here where I'm showing the GTC. So anything you want to learn about GTC, just go to the GTC website. We are just weeks away now. If you have not registered yet, whether you're planning to attend virtually or in person, please do so now. It really helps to plan things on our side if we know how many people are coming to different sessions. So feel free to let us know if you have any questions on the registration process. We popped in a link there for a discount if you are coming, 25% discount, I believe, for community members. And if you are alumni of GTC, you've come before, there's actually a nice discount there as well. I don't know what discounts now are still active based on the date, but let us know if you have a problem with anything. It is taking place in San Jose, California. And don't worry if you have a hard time finding a hotel that's super close by, don't worry. Things are relatively close to each other, and you're only going to be sleeping at the hotel, or at least spend most of your time at the convention center. So if you're like me, you can be a little farther, and then you're only there for a few hours a night anyway. Anyway, so let us know if you have any problems. But the GTC page has a session catalog. Just click the link there. You could search by lots of different topics, and you can also look at the different panel discussions that are happening. We're going to have lots of amazing leaders talking from across the world, including from OpenAI, California Institute of Tech, UC Berkeley, Together AI, and like I said, lots of different sessions on these topics and more. I think the really fun part of it will obviously kick off on the 18th with that keynote with Jetson. And then obviously we have lots of amazing sponsors who are going to be showing off their great work at GTC as well. And as we mentioned in that slide deck a few minutes ago, we have the trainings and certifications happening there. It is the AI conference for the world. There is no better place if you're working in AI or want to work in AI. There is no better place to go. Not only for learning, but for networking with others. So I hope you come, and there's a nice link there if you want to join the developer program to take advantage of hundreds of SDKs. Again, all this stuff is available right on the GTC website, nvidia.com/GTC. And here's more information on the startup program. So Eric is back. Eric, welcome back. And let me, we have a good question here in the chat. This is what I meant to show. What happens in a study group? Is it same like Isaac Lab office hours? That's an amazing question. So the study groups have been primarily organized by community members who actually want to get together with other people in the community, other developers, to talk about whatever topic it is. But we have two active ones right now. There's one that's focused on OpenUSD topics. So we recently updated our learning path for OpenUSD with lots of courses. And the study group has been diving into some of those courses there and talking about how they deal with certain problems with OpenUSD and solving certain things. So it's a great way to just talk to others about similar passion with OpenUSD. And then we also have a study group that Eric is actually very heavily involved in that's really focused on Isaac Sim and Isaac Lab. So both are really covered there with the same group of people. Scott Dempsey, who's an Omniverse ambassador from the community, he's actually the one who started this study group. And does an amazing job presenting different topics. He's actually involved with robotics and Isaac. So he's been leading some of those discussions. And both these study groups take place on our Discord server. They're a little different from the office hours, which is what you're watching right now. And that the office hours are kind of like, we obviously do questions and answers like we're doing right now. But in the study group, everyone gets to unmute your mic, show your webcam if you want, and it's really more of a group discussion. Where here, it's a little bit more, we're presenting or answering questions in live chat. Eric has come prepared to talk about debugging. We're going to get that in a few minutes. But yeah, so I highly recommend both. If you are, this is a great place to come ask the experts who we have on. But the study group is also a great place to ask the experts in the community, and as well as just kind of troubleshoot, problem solve, share your work, share your projects with other folks. Eric, did I cover that? Is it the differences?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. And then I would just add that this week, Lychee is going to be talking about how to use TensorBoard to kind of show what's going on in a reinforcement learning training session.
Oh, that's awesome. Lychee AI is a channel everyone should be checking out. We'll put a link in the chat. He's been producing some amazing videos, and really, we've been sharing with the Isaac team, and they're like, "Oh wow, these are great videos." So even the people working on the tech are very impressed with Lychee's videos, which is amazing. So I highly recommend. He gets our big thumbs up. We'll post a link in the chat. Really amazing content, and if you're out there, if you're also producing videos, make sure you let us know so we can help share with others in the community. We always like celebrating and promoting when people are developing great content, especially when it's helping to teach others. We feel like that's one of the amazing things about this community is that we have so many people who are really interested in sharing their knowledge, and as you've seen with many of the guests on these live streams. So thank you to Lychee AI and others for producing that great content. Okay, so last call for GTC. If people check out the NVIDIA website for GTC, and then now we're going to and let us know if you have any questions on Discord. We'll have to answer. If you want to get in touch with me for anything, come on Discord. You'll see me. I'm all over the place there. But you can also go to edmar.net, and that'll bring you right to my LinkedIn page. So edmar.net, bring you right to my LinkedIn. You can message me there. And if you're doing any work with Omniverse, any projects that you would love to share with the community, especially as it relates to robotics, our topic today, we'd love to show it. We have a show and tell channel on Discord. We're also leveraging Isaac Lab GitHub page. Actually has a really cool feature. People who leverage GitHub for getting all their stuff probably is familiar with the discussion area, which is fantastic for talking to people. But there's also a show and tell area, which some people may not be aware of. Lychee actually just posted it the other day. So show and tell area is a great place to post your videos, your projects, your tutorials, any kind of work you're doing you want other people to see. I highly recommend you do it in the GitHub, Isaac Lab, GitHub show and tell area. And also, we've been also sharing the Discord server where we're having show and tell channel. All right, but Eric, we have a lot of people watching here who have tuned in on, I think we're broadcasting to the robotics channels today, which is amazing. Lots of great passionate developers out there who probably want to know, hey, I want to know some debugging tips and tricks. What does StrainFlow have to share? This is a really important area.
I think if you're coding, then most of your time is typically spent debugging, and you can almost think of it as, you get to one issue, and once you get it resolved, you make some progress fairly quickly until you run into your next issue. And that's just kind of the life of the coder, is trying to solve that next issue. And so these debugging tips and tricks, I think, are important. And in particular, let's see, which one I was going to say, the visual markers. Yeah. The visual markers are just, it's nice to display information in the training scene so you can see what's going on and see, just being able to draw in there is really handy.
So these are visual markers, not in the code, but in the scene itself.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you draw stuff in the scene that does not interact with the scene physics, but just lets you see what's going on and so kind of visual debugging. And then the not a number bugs are just kind of nasty ones. And I spent quite a bit of time tracking those down. I'm starting to get the hang of it. And so I was just going to share a few tips on a little bit of code you can add to your environments to make those a lot easier to figure out.
That's awesome. And I invite people out there that are watching, if you have great tips or tricks for debugging, we would love to see it and hear it. So feel free to post it in the chat. If you happen to know me and we're friends already and you want to show something live on the air, ping me on Discord. Maybe I could try to get you in the live stream really quick to show something fast.
TensorBoard is one of those tricks. I mean, TensorBoard is essentially like a debugging tool. So you can see what's going on with your rewards, at least, and I think with other things. I don't know much about TensorBoard yet. So I'm really looking forward to this session with Lychee. But the people I talk to who have been doing RL for a while, use TensorBoard or something like it to display information during training. Because you typically, like right now, I'm running just with the training environment fully visible, and so I can see what's going on. But typically, as you get more experienced, you shut down. You don't display the training environment live because it runs like, I don't even know. It's like 3 to 5 times as fast if you don't display. It's like noticeably faster. It's much, much faster if you don't display the graphics. And especially, I'm only doing like 500 environments right now, but if you're training a quadruped or a humanoid, you're probably doing 4,000 plus environments, and displaying all that at once is using a lot of your compute just for something that you try to get out of the habit of needing to do. So I'm there myself, but
here's a note from David there. Debugging is test.
Yeah. And I'll show you guys the bug I'm running into right now. My current challenge is that one of my rewards is just not calculating what I expect. And I just noticed the car wasn't training to behave the way I expected. And so it's probably something with my rewards. And so I started digging into my reward system, and then, but how do you see that? How do you see your rewards, this number that's being calculated in the background? And I'll use visual markers for that. I'll show you.
Very cool. Yeah. And actually, Eric, I think what's great about your journey with Isaac Lab is that like many developers probably watching, you just dived in relatively recently to Isaac Lab from Isaac.
Yeah, like December.
Yeah.
I'm new to Isaac Lab, folks. I'm new to reinforcement learning. I'm new to Isaac Lab. I am not new to coding. I've been coding for a while. I'm a mechanical engineer by training, so I have a solid grasp of just physics, I would say. But in designing machines, and so I think I intuitively kind of get robotics pretty well.
Yeah. So
I'm learning quickly, but definitely beginner here. I'm a beginner.
Which is awesome. So Eric, has been on the path of many of you are on, and he's on it. So feel free to come in with your questions. We have a good question here. I don't know, Eric, if you want to take this really quick, or you want to hold on to this one for after.
No, let's take a round of questions.
Okay. Here's one. What troubleshooting steps are recommended to find counter stability issues during physics simulations in Isaac Lab?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to if you have a robot, step one would be to get that into Isaac Sim, and then maybe get some kind of a teleoperation scheme going, or some kind of a basic simulation, and get that just completely stable before you move that to Isaac Lab. And I'll just tell you right now, and there's some nice physics simulation debugging tools built into Isaac Sim that you can use for that. And that said, there are some issues that are just really common. Number one is poor mass properties. So if you just let Isaac Sim auto calculate your mass properties, they're typically terrible. And you'll have something that weighs a gram and something that weighs 1,000 kilograms. And when you have these very different masses, then the solver really has a hard time and becomes unstable. Another really common issue would be your contact meshes. If you have poor contact meshes, you'll have overlapping contacts and that sort of thing. Especially if you have, let's say, if you have two links that are connected by a joint, and then their contact meshes overlap, and you have contacts on for that, wow, that can really cause some really nasty problems. Another one is just check your units. So if your gravity units are in meters per second squared, and then you got to check your lengths of your items, because you might have something that's a scale 10 or 100 times bigger or smaller than you think it is, and then it'll behave really funny in the physics. So those are just a few kind of initial tips for you.
Great question, though.
Yeah, great question. And I know it isn't. And then the next step, there's actually one more tip I want to say is, I don't have a whiteboard in here.
What do you mean? The whole wall behind you is free for writing.
I know, right? I should just like get a whiteboard.
Get a crayon.
Oh my gosh, I should do that. I'm good. Next live stream, I'm gonna have a whiteboard hanging back there so we can draw stuff. That'll be fun, right?
Blank slate. It's good.
But there's actually like a. You pull up this. Somebody here in NVIDIA shared this with me, and it's been just perception changing of how.
Nice.
Of how reinforcement learning works. Okay, this is just like a little drawing app on my computer here. Okay, let's say that you are trying to. This circle represents the center of the circle represents kind of like the center of the real world ground to how the real world physics works in the real world, right? This is the real stuff that we're trying to emulate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the radius of this circle represents the variety that you're going to encounter in the real world, because this is the domain that you're trying to train an AI to operate within. Now, if we draw a second circle, I want to change colors. I probably hit the way to do that. That's okay. I'll just make it the same color. Hopefully it's not too confusing. Okay, now this circle represents our simulation, okay? And I'm going to start with it smaller because we can do any size we want. Oops. There we go. The center of this circle represents kind of how good our simulation is, how accurate. And really, it's the distance between the center points of these two circles. You can think of it as how different is our simulation from the way the real world operates. And then the radius of this circle is our synthetic domain randomization. So how much variety are we adding to our simulation? And it turns out a lot of people they want to do this. They want to make these two match. Exactly. They want the simulation and the real world to be the same physics phenomena.
Yeah.
And they want to have the same domain randomization in their simulation they have in the real world. And that is really hard. Getting these two to be that close together is so hard. But adding synthetic domain randomization is actually pretty easy, okay? So what you want to do instead is let these two be far apart in their simulation, but then add domain randomization to your synthetic training until it completely encapsulates the real world, okay? And so I get a lot of questions about, now, of course, you need your simulations to be stable. Of course you do. But some people are like, well, how do I get this exact friction exactly the same as it is in the real world? And you can't. That is so hard. I mean, if you go talk to a race car engineering team, they wish they could do that, and they've been trying to do it for 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. And they've have like go to a Formula One teams have multi-million dollars invested into that every year, trying to solve that problem, and it's just really a hard problem. Okay, so instead of getting that simulation right on, let them be different and include more domain range. So instead of getting an exactly accurate friction model, let your friction model vary. Do high friction, do low friction, do friction randomized all over the place, so that it just expand the domain that your robot can operate under. And if you do that, it's just a lot. It's just you have to do some. You have to do some of both, but it's typically easier to add some domain randomization than it is to really just nail the simulation right on top of the reality. But great question about simulation, and I just run across this a lot. People ask me how they can make their simulations super duper accurate, and I'm like, don't make it that accurate. Make it more random. And it's just a lot easier to make it more random than it is to make it more accurate.
Great. That's a really cool visual representation.
And then the other thing is try to decouple So a lot of people are like, how do I come up with one model that takes all of these many things into account? And if you just look at how much you'll need to randomize, if you have like, I think I would recommend, to a degree, separating some of those models and having different models that can handle different things to a degree. So, I can talk more about that later.
Yeah, nice comment from Leechy AI here. I have leveraged synthetic data to close the sim to real gap for object detection and was surprised at how well it worked.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because with synthetic data, if you can make all you want. It's really easy. It's a lot, yeah, to a degree, right? Yeah. So like, here's a great one, right? Can you simulate anisotropic friction? You can simulate whatever you want with warp. You can write your own friction models and simulate whatever you want. And it's just a lot easier to add highly randomized friction. And just if you can train your model, so like right now, if you're trying to model anisotropic friction, then the observations and rewards of your robot must depend on that friction. And if instead you can think of your design and come up with a design that doesn't care, where it doesn't matter if the friction is accurate or not, then you don't need accurate friction anyway, and you don't have to simulate that. This is classic. This is an interesting thing. This is very classic mechanical engineering, like a mechanical engineering way of thinking. Like if you go to an aerospace company, you would be just amazed at how simple the mathematical models are that they use to make airplanes fly.
Really?
Yeah, like everyone thinks that they're doing these massive 3D CFD models, but no, some clever engineer in the 60s probably figured out how to model that with like a one-dimensional model, like some really simple like hand cat, because they were making planes fly before there were computers. And so they had to come up with really simple mathematical models that would just be accurate enough. And yeah, that's the way to go. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say this is what Renan says, Papa Chuck. You have to pick your battles.
Yeah. Now that said, I would say just start with the simulation that you already have before you dig in super deep. Now, coming from a guy who I'm really looking forward to digging into warp, and I'd like to integrate warp with Isaac Lab and show some of that stuff in some of these sessions, right? So I love the physics modeling, but I do have to say that it's really hard. And yeah, so that said, if you can use a simpler physics model or a simpler simulation, but then add more domain randomization, that's typically going to be the easier way to go. Yeah.
Very cool. Big thank you to Shane Reitz, who's now part of the NVIDIA Omniverse team. Welcome to team. Shane is helping out in the chat. People who watch these live streams or are in the community might recognize Shane as a very active community member, produce some great videos. He's now part of the NVIDIA team. Amazing to have him here. Thank you for answering some of these questions. Shane, you're welcome to join our live stream. Let me know, and we really can get you in here really quick. And I see some great questions here. Let me show this one on the screen. And Eric, let me know if this is better tackled maybe in the study group later on. But it takes place at 12:30 p.m. Pacific today. Here's the question. I've attempted to assemble a mobile robot with a robotic arm. Even when using the robot assembler, it didn't quite work as expected. Do you have any advice on how to improve?
Yeah, even when using the robot assembler, it didn't quite work as expected. So you have, yeah. And so I've seen a few questions about this.
It's a common challenge
on the GitHub. On GitHub, people who I think there are a lot of people who want to say put a manipulator onto a quadruped, or they've got a humanoid that's not like an out of the box humanoid. It's kind of a mix of some kind of a mobile base with two arms, with two manipulator arms. And I have not dug into this myself yet. Okay. But I don't have an answer for you today.
But it's a great question.
It's a great question.
great something to bring up in the study group, which is today. I mentioned this a little earlier, but for those who came in late to live stream, this is our office hours. There's also a study group happening on the Discord server, which you are very welcome to join. It would be great to see many of you there who are watching this live stream later. You can unmute yourself. You can show your webcam if you want. You can chat back and forth. It's a kind of a group discussion, a little different from these office hours where right now it's just Eric and myself, and taking some of your questions live. So come to the study group. We can dive more into this stuff, and also maybe invite some other people from video to join us there as well. That's happening at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, so a little bit later today.
Well, and I will say that I'm seeing this as a theme, this question of yours. Yeah. And so this is something that I'm planning to elevate internally. And,
okay, awesome.
And I would say in general, we have our support forums and our support people like myself. I'm more that even either. I'm kind of I don't even know what my role is, but I work with the support guys a lot, and I help support. I'll put it that way. And we are all there are these experts in reinforcement learning and in Isaac Lab, and we are trying to protect their time as much as possible so that they can add features to Isaac Lab.
It's always a delicate balance.
Yeah, there's this balance, right?
Worth noting that Isaac Sim support is handled on the NVIDIA forums, right? We'll post a link to that in a second. Isaac Lab is in the GitHub discussion area. So and two different places.
On Discord, right?
On Discord, yeah. Discord.
If you want to be part of what's going on, I'd highly recommend Discord. I can't recommend it enough.
The caveat there, the thing worth mentioning is the Discord support is really more meant for community user-to-user support. Yes. Of course, Eric and others will jump in as often as they can, but it's really meant for the community to help each other. And I've seen amazing support there from users. Just mind-blowing how often people give up their time and expertise to help others. I love it. And so anyway, Isaac Sim, forums, Isaac Lab, go to the GitHub discussion area, and you can use Discord for both of those. Okay, so thank you, Adlan, for that great question. We were going to investigate that further, perhaps in study group later today. Eric will also check with some others to find out how we can help with that. Okay, so let me see if we have any other questions here. Here's one that just came in, and actually, Eric, you covered this topic recently, because you had a great live stream series on the F-110 project. So this is from Ryland. I have a question about using the vehicle wizard to create a model F-110 car, and how to tie to our ROS 2 bridge and potentially with the reinforcement learning model. So first, before you answer this, Eric, what is F-110? People who might not know.
So F-110 is a 10th scale Formula One robotics competition, and that's the F1. That's what F-110 is. And then now the F-110 cars have stereo cameras and LiDAR, I believe. I know they have LiDAR. I don't remember exactly what kind of cameras they have. So what we've done is we have a car it's the F-110 platform, but we took off the LiDAR and we're just using a stereo camera. Because we think we can do a lot with just the stereo camera. I don't think we need the LiDAR. Like, it's interesting to try to work without the LiDAR. And it really reduces the cost significantly. And that we're calling Leatherback. So Leatherback is the NVIDIA kind of modified F-110 car. It's just simplified, so it's cheaper, and it's what I've been working with.
More accessible, awesome.
Yeah.
But before you even answer this question, Eric,
go ahead.
Before you even answer this even further, I was just mentioning just a minute ago about how helpful the community is to each other. Look at this reply we got back from the Robotics Club. At Ryland, I'm working on this. Hop on Discord. Let's connect. So that's amazing. So on the Omniverse Discord server, it's in discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. All the channels organized on the left side under different categories. Just do a search for whatever channel you're looking for in the search bar at the right. But we have an Isaac Lab channel. There's also a Jet Racer channel for those working on Jet Racer. And there's an Isaac Sim channel.
And Jet Racer is just Tamiya TT02. It's just a cheaper version of Leatherback.
Okay.
And that's it. They're both remote control cars. They're both 10th scale. The TT02 is just cheaper. And I think most people might want to start with the TT02 because it's so cheap. And then once it is broken into bits and pieces from crashing, they'll be like, maybe I should go with the Leatherback.
So many great questions here. Are we done with Ryland's question for now?
Oh, not quite. If you can read that
Here, I'll
back.
put it on the screen again.
So Isaac Sim ships with an F110 car model that I built. So you don't need to use the vehicle wizard to make one. You can just use the leatherback model as the F110, same geometry. And in Isaac Sim, it simulates with all the suspension geometry and everything. But it turns out that won't work in Isaac Lab. And so we've got a simplified one that we're already sharing on Discord. There's just that same scale, but with the same scale car, same masses, but we've taken out all of the suspension joints except for the wheels and steering. So it's just a simplified car where the suspension doesn't articulate, and it's been working great for us for reinforcement learning. It's a lot simpler, so it simulates better and more stably. It's been great. That's all thanks to Antoine Richard, also from the community, who's also now working for NVIDIA. I think I'm not sure.
Very
and
cool.
then as far as ROS2 Bridge, you typically wouldn't use that as part of the reinforcement learning pipeline. You'd use that later on. So you're just a little early to be using ROS2 Bridge. All right.
Ryland, just as a follow-up, where can I find the Discord? If you didn't hear me a second ago, everybody, so the URL, discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. So all one word, no spaces, like any website address. And I think we posted in the chat also. So if you scroll up in the chat, Amelia posted our Discord address there. I'll even be, let me see, I try not to do this too often because the marketing team would kill me. But here is the address if you need a visual representation of where to go. That is our Discord server. Again, apologies to the branding and marketing team who would never approve something like this on the screen. But I think in this context, I think it's okay. All right, so there you go. All right, so that's where you find the Discord. And there's again, in the chat, Amelia has posted the invite. Very simple, easy to get to. Let us know if you have any problems. You can reach me. Go to edmore.net. That'll go to my LinkedIn page. You can always send me a message and I'll help you. Okay, we have a question here from Deep Worker, Eric. I experienced issues with the normal RAM during training incremental users more RAM, and I'm not talking about VRAM. You need more context.
How long are these training sessions going for, Deep Worker?
Okay, yeah, maybe give us more context.
And how much RAM is on your system? I'm just curious,
Yeah. So excited.
If you've got like 1 gig of RAM, it's time for an upgrade, dude. If you're like using up a lot of RAM, then that's interesting. I haven't had that problem myself.
And how much RAM are you working with?
You've got lots of RAM. He's 32 gigabytes of RAM. How much do I have? I don't know. It hasn't come up, so I haven't even looked.
Okay, cool.
Probably something like that. Yeah. Dang. Okay, we're having like a RAM off here. 192 gigabytes of RAM. I think you win the prize there.
The Deep Worker followed up. He's working with 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah. There you go. 32 gigabytes of RAM.
I'm just getting a question on the. My head's going all over the place because Matt from NJIT, who's watching right now. Hey, Matt. Hopefully he's not in the middle of teaching class, but he's mentioning he has a similar issue with RAM and that it fills up overnight sometimes. So he's suggesting maybe it could be a memory leak issue.
It does sound like it, and so that does sound like a memory leak. And so if that's what's happening to you, then you should go to the Isaac Lab Discord, the Isaac Lab GitHub, and report that as an issue.
Yeah.
And we track all of those. We've got a team that tracks those. That's our official support channel for bug reporting and that sort of thing. So,
all right, I'm going to post the link for that in the chat now. This is the Isaac Lab GitHub discussion area. Again, this is where official support is handled. So post your issue there. And also, like I said earlier, if you have project, go ahead.
That's discussions. It's almost it's right next door to that one. Let me see.
It's issues.
Yeah, issues. So if it's like a discussion, so issues are more things that are, if we can immediately help you get that closed, or if it's a bug, then it'll be an issue. If it's more like open-ended research, like I would love to do this innovative thing, then it'll be we'll talk to you in the discussion area. And then if it's a discussion, you really might want to be talking about that on Discord, where the community can hop in and talk to you about it.
Okay, that's good. Good distinction. Thank you for clarifying. So yeah, I'm going to put it on the screen for people who aren't looking at the live chat. That's where you post issues. Okay, fantastic. Wow, so many great robotics developers in the stream today. Thank you all for watching and being part of the chat. Lots of great questions and comments here. Let me see. I think Amelia, our great producer, has been starring some. Let me go back and time a little bit and see what some of the earlier ones. Here's one, Eric.
I'm going to go ahead and talk about visual markers while you just kind of look through.
That's definitely we don't want to forget that.
Yeah. All right. And if you hear a screaming toddler, he's okay. It's nap time. He doesn't want to go down. I'm so sorry.
No, I never apologize. Screaming baby. We were all screaming babies at one point.
Yeah. Let's see here. So let's just talk about visual markers. They're really not too hard to use. I'm just going to show you some code here. Well, first of all, I'm going to run this and show you my visual markers in action. It's just some things I'm doing myself. So this has to do with that F-110th car, the leatherback, and I'm trying to teach it to drive through a series of waypoints. And it is working, but it's just, I know there's a few red flags to me. One is it's not converging very quickly, and two, as quickly as I would expect to be able to do it. And the other one is that the cars were always turning in left-hand circles. And so I just thought there must be something wrong. Oh, of course I have a bug right away. Let me see. I've been actually working on this.
Well, Eric's just go ahead, Eric.
There we go.
That was quick.
It'll run. It'll just be doing numbers wrong in the background, which is okay. They're wrong anyway. So it's not going to hurt anything. All right. So what you'll see, first of all, I'm trying to teach the robot to drive through a series of waypoints. And so I'm using visual markers to draw those waypoints. And then the robot is supposed to go through them sequentially. And so it has one that is supposed to be going to next. And they will all be red except for that one, which will be blue. You gotta be kidding me. Wait a second. Oh, I deleted this function. Did I?
While Eric's looking at that, I want to remind everybody there is going to be a study group happening in about 30 minutes from now, actually, on the Discord server that we gave earlier, the Omniverse Discord server. So you can feel free and we can maybe answer some of your questions that are open in the study group. I hope many of you can join us there in about 30 minutes on the Discord server. We can hear you and your voice if you unmute yourself there. Well, Eric's doing that. Also, I want to mention that this is our office hours. So normally we will go over a certain feature and take your questions live. Definitely more of our informal type of live streams. As you can see, we're kind of hanging out with the community here, chatting and doing some show and tell. A little different from other live streams where we maybe dive into a topic or an interview. Let's see if this one did the trick. Let's see if that.
We made progress last time. I think it will. I found out I'm getting better with my quaternions, and I had written this. I found I was I was doing some math with a quaternion in like 10 lines of code, and I learned that with PyTorch you can do it with a single line. So I was like, oh man, well, I should do that. There we go. So you're going to see some cool stuff drawing here. Oh. I can hear you, but not nothing's moving. And my mouse is part of that. Oh man, we're having the technical difficulties today, aren't we?
Is it your RAM?
Yeah, right. It might be. I actually wonder if it's the. I don't use the Chrome browser. I use the Brave browser, and I wonder if it's not. It's a Chromium browser. And I lost my mouse.
All right, Eric's going to get this started again.
Yep, I'll be back.
Go ahead. He'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to look at some of these starred questions we've got. Again, we've got, let me see, Amelia, thank you for starring some of these. And by the way, for people who came in late, in the first part of this live stream, we went over some GTC sessions which are related to robotics and humanoid. I highly recommend you watch this afterwards if you missed that part, or just go to the GTC page, nvidia.com/GTC, where you can look at the different sessions and the panels and the labs. And if you're able to make it, it's a great time to come and learn something new and ask experts some of your questions live. Okay, so Isaac, so here's a question regarding Isaac Lab and Isaac Gym. I think it's fair to say that Isaac Lab is kind of the evolution of Isaac Gym. Eric will have to confirm that, but that's my understanding of it. So yeah, so Isaac Lab is what people should be using now for reinforcement learning. But good question there, Omar. Thank you. Will reinforcement learning frameworks like Ray, RLib, and Torch be integrated in the future? Well, I'm going to hold that one for Eric. He might know. And let me see. I'm going to share actually my screen here just to go over really quick some of the sessions that are happening related to show everybody how to use a session catalog here. So again, this is GTC is happening in just a couple of weeks, March 17th to the 21st. 18th is when we had that keynote. Highly recommend everybody put this on your calendar. It's going to be an amazing. We have a amazing content being put together for this keynote. It's always a very big crowd-pleasing moment, actually, when you see some of the tech displayed on the monitor. So we hope that you all join us for that. So anyway, when you scroll down the GTC page, you could kind of separate things. You could look at everything. This is basically a nice overview, but the session catalog will have pretty much everything. So you could do a search by keynote. So session catalog right down here. This will do all here, and then you could search by any number of topics here, whether it's key themes or session type or technical level, intended audience, so on and so forth. And then just search the keywords you're looking for. There's the keynote there. An easy way, if you are registered here, you'll be able to add anything here easily to your schedule, whether it's virtual or in person. So highly recommend you leverage the session catalog and kind of get your days planned out so that you know which sessions you're going to be watching either live or virtually. Are you back?
I'm back. Sorry, I hijacked you.
That's okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's good.
Sometimes I think I can just put, yeah, I won't. All right. So here you can see, did I freeze again?
I see and hear you fine. I don't know if you can hear me, Eric.
I can hear you.
Okay. So your camera is fine. Your screen, the screen you're sharing, I don't see anything moving. Yeah, it looks like, and that screen just disappeared. Maybe try resharing that screen again.
Except my mouse gets frozen.
Oh, I see. While you're doing that, we got this question a minute ago, and I wonder if you can clarify. I don't know if you can see the screen now. Will reinforcement learning frameworks like Ray, RLib, and Torch RL be integrated into the future? In the future.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you see the question on the screen?
No. Can you repeat the question? I just read it to me. And
would reinforcement learning frameworks like Ray, RLib, and Torch RL be integrated in the future?
I don't know about all the frameworks out there, but Isaac Lab right now supports the gymnasium frameworks, and so and you can add your own RL frameworks to it.
There you go.
But I don't have a roadmap. The roadmap is usually pretty short. Like we're usually releasing stuff so fast that I don't see like a long roadmap usually.
Okay, so your screen is not it doesn't look like it's working, right?
No. Can you all see my Isaac sim running though? And I can just kind of explain what you're seeing.
Let me see. I don't think it's showing. Yeah, right now we're seeing a blank screen. Maybe unshare your screen and then try again.
Yeah, I don't have a mouse cursor.
Oh, it's okay. Oh wait, now we're seeing it. We're seeing it now.
You are?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, go ahead and do something. Let me see if I can see
All right.
it.
Well, can you see my mouse moving?
I can't actually.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll just explain what's on the screen here.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Because we're we're over time, aren't we? So let me explain this on the screen, and I'll just and then we'll just call it a day. So these visual markers are pretty cool, and what you see those 10. There's a series of 10 markers. Those are the waypoints that the car should drive through, and the blue one is the waypoint is trying to go towards now. And if it hits that one, the next one will turn blue, and it'll kind of go through those. And the car doesn't depend on the blue markers to go. That's just for me so I can see, is it getting through markers over time, or if it goes through a marker, is it actually triggering that goal? And so that's been really helpful. If you look on the car, you can see a red and a green arrow. I was having a hard time.
Maybe it helps if I unmute my mic. All right. So given that Eric has lost his connection and we're over on time anyway, I see a lot of great questions in the chat. So I also want to make sure we hit some of those. So let's do that in the study group, which actually kicks off in 20 minutes from now on the Discord server. So I apologize to everybody who was waiting for the debugging and leveraging visual markers, but I think we're going to cover that right away in the study group. So hop on over to Discord, discord.gg/NVIDIA-Omniverse. You'll see the study group will be an event on the upper left, and it'll bring you right to the community room where we're going to have the study group exactly 20 minutes from now if you're watching this live. If you're watching this after the fact, obviously, then it won't be live anymore. But at 12:30 p.m. Pacific today, which is February 19th, we're going to have the Isaac Lab study group, and we will cover the visual markers that Eric was about to show off, and we will also cover some of these questions, which I'm copying now, so we don't lose them. Great questions. I want to thank everybody for participating. This has been a really fun over an hour now. Thanks for walking through GTC with us. I hope everyone out there is registering. Again, you can come on site or you can watch virtually some of the sessions. So we hope that as many people out there who can make it out there will make it. We would love to meet you. Let me know if you're coming. It would be great to schedule some time to chat and learn about your project and how we can help you. If I can help you set up any meetings or if you need any help with GTC at all, feel free to get in touch. You can always reach me at edmar.net. That'll bring you right to my LinkedIn page. Again, we're going to meet on the Discord in about 20 minutes from now. So feel free to join us there. I want to thank Eric for joining us today. He's at a temporary location, which partly explains some of the issues he's having today, I'm sure. So appreciate everybody's patience there. Thank you all for the great conversation, the great chat, the great questions, the great comments, and for just hanging out with us during this office hours. We will schedule the next one very soon. Just check out our ad event calendar, which I believe Amelia posted and will also be in the description of this video. So you can check out all the upcoming live streams and different study groups and office hours that we have in the coming weeks. Very happy to be with you today. I'll see you on Discord and on the forums. My name is Edmar from the Omniverse community team. Big thanks to Amelia, our producer, and also Eric for joining us today. I'll see everybody. Hopefully join us in the study group. I'd love to see many of you there today. Regardless, thank you all for joining us. And until next time, signing out. Thank you.